So I know right now I'm thinking five, maybe six authors who have sold film options. And one of them has been made, and that was The Martian. So Andy Weir sold the project, which was an indie book, started as an indie book. It is the golden egg, the golden goose. It's the story that never happens, probably is never going to happen to you, it's never going to happen to me, it never happens to anybody. And that is the guy who, his first book sells 80,000, 100,000 copies, finally gets picked up. NASA contacts him and wants him to fix some errors in it, helps him make the book better. He comes out with another version, it goes nuclear. Ridley Scott buys the option, and the movie gets made within 18 months. I mean, it was so fast. That story doesn't happen. Here's how the story usually happens. They buy an option, nothing happens, you don't hear from anybody, nobody talks to you for a year. At the end of the year, you find out whether they want to extend it for another year. And sometimes this happens 2, 3, 4 years. I've talked to people that have had options extended 12 times. And so I was told early on in this process, take the money and go write books, because it's never going to happen.
So Michael, how little is that money?
I'm not going to give you any of my numbers. I can give you, industry averages. For years, up until a couple of years ago, industry average was $5,000 to $10,000 for an option, and then depending on how the contract is written, that could be extended with an additional payment year by year. So as long as they extended it before the end of the year, then that's a pretty good deal. If you can get 2 or 3 options sold and they extend them for a couple of years, you can make some money. That deal right there is very rare anymore, because there are still about 50 to 100 scripts that are sold in Hollywood, that of which 2 or 3, maybe 5 make it into big budget movies. Nowadays, with the likelihood of your story actually making it to a smaller screen somewhere in another venue, the options up front are smaller, but there's a lot of creative ways that can help on the back end. Now, there's a big difference between a film option and a TV option, so I wanted to tell you that difference before we get into this. With my project, we still don't know what it's going to be. She's pitching it both as she's in Sundance right now, pitching it. And she's pitching it as a film and as a TV. We've already written a screenplay for a 2-hour pilot for a TV show. And but the last time I heard from her, she had it with Sony for 4 weeks and they loved it, but they don't love it as a TV show. And so if something's going to happen, it's going to have to be rewritten as a feature, which is...
Did you write the screenplay?
I did. I wrote it with a friend. So those are 2 different things. Let me tell you the little difference between them. With a film, in the option is stated a percentage that if they pick up the option, which means they buy the product, there's a price stated in the option, how they buy the property from you, and then what you're going to get paid for the movie. And it's usually a percentage of the production cost. So we'll use The Martian, for example. The production budget for The Martian was $108 million. So if he signed it, and I never saw his deal. I've talked to him, but I never saw his deal, and he's not going to tell me. But if he signed a standard deal, which would be 2% of the production budget, he did really, really, really well up front. But who knows? Because those deals can get cut in half. They can do a 1% deal, 0.5% deal up front, and then you could have points on the back end where if the film makes a bonus or makes a profit, then you can make more money on the back end. But he did very, very well in that deal. No matter what deal he signed, he did pretty well. That again, that's the golden goose. That deal doesn't happen for almost